All right, the card today, and I'm doing it completely from scratch because I've cut nothing out in advance, is this. What do you think of that? Am I holding it right? And I have used rubber dance stamps for this one. So it's sketchy birds, sketchy flowers, and I've used Mixed Media Marks 1. There's a scribbly word stamp on there which I quite liked, and they hadn't had it before, but it's on the new sets, on the new clear sets, and sketchy leaves. I'm using this big one here. You can tell it's the dirty one. I don't clean my stamps. I'll clean them a little bit, but I'm not really good at it. Oh, and a stencil. And I've used a rubber dance one. I think it's in the product list, so I can't remember off the top of my head what it's called. And the inks that we're using are Distress Oxides, Wilted Violet, and Bundled Sage. Maybe I might use my pencils, and that's it. It's mainly stamping. Now, the technique is a really, really easy one. Really, really easy one. They're all easy. There's nothing hard in card making once you know what to do. And to be in the draw for this month, it's going to be a really easy qualification. So let's go down to the table and make a start. Sorry about the shadows. I've got the light on. The card I'm using is 14.7 centimetres by 10.7 centimetres by 14.5. Yeah, that's that size. And that's just a nice card size for envelopes, I think. So I start with the Bundled Sage, and all I do is swipe it across my craft sheet and spritz it with a little water. Don't need too much. And I'm going to hold the card so that my thumbs are here. They're not here, and they're not here. They're diagonal, pointing towards each other. Now, wherever my thumbs are, that's going to be white space, because the ink won't go where I've put my thumbs. So the ink should go everywhere else. And I'm just going to swish it through and dab. Let me get that. Nothing spectacular to start with. Sorry about the noise. And dry that off. And there should be more here on the craft sheet. I've put my thumbs back and I'm just picking up some spots and drying those off. You could also go in with a bit of paper toweling and just dab some of the wet spots off. I don't know if there's anything still on the craft sheet. Let's see. I might have to put some more ink down. Oh, there's a couple. It's a good way to clean your craft sheet. There's a wet spot there. So I might just put some more ink on the craft sheet, because I just want to build it up a little bit. Just a little bit more, and just dab. Oh, that's pretty. Now each time you do this will be quite random. It's good with the light on. I can see where the marks are And I'll just pick up a little bit up there. And you just keep dabbing. And some down there. See, where my thumbs are, it stays white because you're blocking where the ink is going. All right, that will do. I'll just bring you back up for a sec. And I'll wipe my craft sheet. So this is what I have so far. Right. So that's looking pretty good. You can do this. I've chosen oxides because they're a lovely soft colour. You can do this in distress ink and you'll get a stronger hit of colour on white card. But I wanted something really pretty and soft, and I want to do a bit of stencil work, so I didn't want to go too heavy. That was my thinking on it. To qualify for this month, that's what you need to do. And you can use distress ink or distress oxides. So, but for my card, I chose distress oxides. If you're using distress ink, stick to one colour because they'll all mix and it'll just go. The colours don't sit on top of each other, they'll blend in. But if you're doing oxides, you can even do 2 colours if you want, or 3 colours, all depending on what card design that you want to put into the competition. But one colour looks quite nice. Now with the stencil, oh, and I'm using the Lavinia stencil brushes. Where did I put the stencil? Does anyone know? Oh, there it is. Back down to the table. Thanks, Helen. So I'm just going to pick some random parts of the stencil. So what I want to do is tone on tone. So I'm going to use the bundled sage again, tone on tone, but take it into the white areas. That's why I wanted the white areas, so I can take a bit of the stencil out into those areas. And I'll just pick some areas of the stencil. I'm not putting the stencil down and just doing the whole thing. I'm just picking interesting bits. There's a nice little flourish there. Just think these brushes work so nice with stencils. And I'll lift it and have a look. That's pretty. Right, and I'll have a swirl going over this way. I haven't been able to get this more stencil brushes in at the moment, so they must be a bit popular. And I'm just joining all my swirls. I'm going to have another one down here. And I'm following the line of where I've got the ink. So I'm going to have one over that way. So nothing hard. And we'll take, what else will I use? A nice big one. Nice big one going down to the bottom corner. Like that. And I just check that it's nice and you can actually see the stencil. So that's what I have so far. So I've followed the ink down through there, and I've brought a couple of bits out into the white areas, which is what I wanted the white areas for. I can always add more in there later if I wanted to, but for now that will do. I'm now going to do some background stamping. Again, tone on tone. So, I'm not going to put it on an acrylic block. You can if you want, but I like a little bit of random stamping. Now this is the really hard part. If you're using a grid stamp, it just looks so good if you get it straight. Just going to be the top, which is going to be the bottom. We'll go that way. And I'll put, and where you put your fingers is where it will stamp out. Scary with lines. And a little bit there. And that will do me. I'm happy with that. I don't want to overdo it because you wreck the effect if you overdo it. Put that stamp aside. So this is what we have. So we've put our bundled sage down first. Then we've done tone on tone stenciling. And then we've done tone on tone stamping. All in one colour so far. It looks pretty nice. You could just turn that into a card. Well, we are, aren't we? Right, now for some stamping. The only thing that I did to prepare for this class was to re-ink my stamp pad. I'm using archival ink. Put that aside. Roll that off. And I will put this onto a block. Now I re-inked my archival ink. You can use VersaFine Clear, Nocturne if you wanted. You could probably use Brilliance ink too. Twist it on, tap it out. And I'm going to have a nice piece coming down towards the middle. Like that. And I will just make sure I'm putting pressure, not too much because you don't want to spread the stamp, you know, but you need it firm, not ridiculously firm. If you've got a stamping platform, you might like to use that. And release and lift. So that's it so far. Whoops. That way. And I'll have, oops, other way around, going up there. And, you know, a good, I don't know, 10-20 seconds. You need to allow time for the ink to transfer onto the card. Make sure you press all over, release and lift. And I've got a bit coming over to the side as well along the bottom. So we'll do that. Right there. And just allowing the time for the ink to go onto the card. And I just use my weight through the shoulder down to the wrist. But like I said, if you're a stamping platform type of person, you can do it. It'll be a lot slower, but that's okay. All right. Now I think the other thing I need to get is the word stamp. Now I have no idea what the words on this stamp say. Now which is up? I think it's that way. And I'm just going to do some random words. just here and there. Okay, that's done. You don't have to put, I like using stamps in different ways. You know, I think a lot of people who are new to stamping think that you have to have everything mounted on an acrylic block and stamped into the middle of the card. I rarely do that, really. Oh, heat set. Hi Pam, how are you going? Oh, making banana cake. Oh, Pam, where do you live? Is it that far? I love banana cake. Oh, see, I've smudged there. I'll have to put something on there because I've got ink on my thumb. That's okay. Let's keep going. Now I need bundled sage again because I'm going to colour in with it. So we've swiped off the craft sheet. We've used it for stenciling and stamping. And now we're going to colour in with it as well. Gosh, so many ways to use inks. So what I was saying about the stamps, I like to go off the edge or roll them on. I'm just colouring in these pod leaves. I don't know what you call them. They're leaves of some sort. So again, if you're using distress inks, you can do all of these things with distress inks. Mind you, I think oxides stamp beautifully. So far, we've only used one colour of ink. That's pretty awesome. So now you have to watch me colour in. Nothing fancy. The hardest part is staying between the lines. But then if you go over the lines, it doesn't really matter. You know, don't put pressure on yourself. It's nothing a bit of bling won't fix later. If you're doing distress inks, you can lift it off with a bit of water. If you make mistakes, not so easy to do with oxides. So just colour these ones up here. Maybe I'll put a bit of wording there, that'll cover up that black splotch that I made. I might get some more. Yeah, it smooths out what's behind it, so you can sort of see the leaves go on top of the background. So every time you add to the background, you're pushing the initial part back. So those lovely splotches that we ended up with in the beginning, you almost can't see. So when I finish colouring the leaves, I'll show you. Okay, where's that leaf go? Let's go there. And up here. What I might do towards the end is go in with pencils and add a bit more depth to the leaves, just to give them a bit more contouring, for the fun of it, really. I'm embracing my artist side. Okay. Clean my craft sheet before I make another mess. Oh, and my fingers should do that. Okay. And I'll just hide that mark with a bit of a stamp. again, which way is up, which way is up, and add some words there. Oh, there we go, all fixed. Right, nothing a bit of stamping can't fix. So here's our background so far. Pretty cool. Okay, I'll just bring everyone up here for a second. Are you keeping up? We've used one colour. No, that's a pretty background. You can do that with any leaves. You could do it with flowers. That lovely new Lavinia stamp with the pods that are draping down, that would make a nice stamp to use. Any word stamps that you've got would be ideal. Oh, holding that upside down. Any word stamps that you've got, I just chose these ones because I was using this set for the grid, because I thought the grid is just a nice way. So one colour. I've got stamps going off the edge. I've got stamps that I've rolled. I've got tone on tone stamping. So lots of ways that you can use stamps on this. That's our background finished, and I'll put that aside. Let's go back down to the table. I need some scrap card. Now I had some here because what I'm going to stamp out now is the bird. There's a bit of tacky stuff on there. Yep, that's holding. You know, no point testing above your work. I don't know how many times I've done that. Have you ever done that? And the stamp's fallen. Did it yesterday, actually. You'd think I'd know by now, wouldn't you? And I'm going to stamp this gorgeous little bird. It's one of my favourite ones. Sketchy birds. The new sets from Rubber Dance have the extra bird in them too, which is pretty good. And lift. Oh, very pretty. That came out nice and strong. I'm glad I re-inked my ink pad. I'll just check my fingers. They need cleaning again. I'm very good at checking myself today, aren't I? There we go. Now I'm just coming up to see what the comments are. Hi Bethany, how are you? I just saw you've jumped on. Hi Lynn, how are you? I met Lynn the other day. Lynn came over with Karen and Bev for a card making session here. We just laughed, really. It was really good. We had a lot of fun. Okay, back down. This part, I'm just cutting out the bird. Now, I'm not going to colour the bird in at all. I probably even don't need its feet, looking at the original. So I'm not going to cut the feet. I'm going to cut 1 or 2 centimetres around the outside of the image. Kind of. Like this. Too much card. Get rid of the excess. Just makes it easier. And down around the beak. You may choose to use a different stamp. I'm using a bird, but you might want to put a person in there or an animal. And that would work just fine. Now, am I going to fit up in here? Yeah, of course I am. Oh, the tail you don't see, so I won't worry. I'll just go around the belly of the bird. That's all I've got of the bird. That's all I need. rid of those scraps for now. That's the bird done. The only thing that we need to do now are the flowers. These. So I've done a very similar thing, and this is where I've used wooded violet. I think a friend of mine in Mount Gambier, actually in South Australia, a few years ago, and some of you will know her favourite colours were purple and green, and I just remembered that as I was doing putting this cardigan. I thought, I think I might do purple and green, because you can't use them together because they go muddy, but you can use them. I'm cutting these out and just sitting it on top of the green, so they actually go quite nice. So the opposites on the colour wheel, so they go mud, and I'm just doing random bits. Now I want it to be not too much purple, really. That's better. So I'm looking at my craft sheet and looking at where the bits are. That's pretty. And my craft sheet is my guide for this. So that's a pretty little patch of colour too. I like that. Quite dark. I'm going to dab it off a little bit. There we go. And I'll put some more over here. Oh, it'll come out as a straight line. That's okay. Now we're going to fit both flowers. No, I'm only going to fit one. So that's all I'll do on that one. I will make another one. I want to make sure I put the lids on properly because they'll last longer. And I've had the heater on, so oh, that's pretty. When I say that's pretty, it's not really, but I'm thinking of the flowers. So I can sort of, I know in my mind what I want it for. So I'm just trying to work some areas. Now I want white on the card. No, I don't like that. Take that off. Let's see if we can pick up some spots. I've got to go for the spots that are on the craft sheet. That's better. So it's just a mopping up process. That's pretty. Just turn it over and heat it up because that will straighten the card back down so I can stamp on it better. A lot of cleaning today. That's okay. Alright, so I need an acrylic block. I'm going to stamp out 2 flowers and cut them out. So there's a little bit of time. If you're watching this on replay, you'll be able to fast forward me cutting things out. Now, there's the flower in the middle. And I'm thinking, where do I want the middle of the flower to be? Right there. So I am thinking, there is a thought process, it's not random. I'm choosing the area that I want the colour to be on. Whoops, don't want to rock it. Oh, that's stamped out nice. See the flower when I cut it out, it's going to look quite pretty, I think. And the other flower, don't know if that's going to fit on that block. Where's my bigger block? I had it here before. Oh, there it is. Excuse me as I lean across. Yes. Get rid of that. I usually just have the one baby white that's on the go until I can't, until it looks pretty dirty or dries out. Make sure it's well inked. And then, again, there's the flower. Oh, I might go, yeah, there. There was a nice, interesting lot of lines or dots where the flower's going. Make sure you press all over. And allow always 10 to 20 seconds. And release and lift. Yeah, that's stamped out nice. I like that. So look at that flower. It's going to be pretty when that's cut out. And that's the other one. So they're my two flowers, and now I'm going to just heat set them. And cut them out. So this will be a slow process because I'm not a quick cutting out person. You could save your scraps, and look, there's another interesting flower for another day, and I'll probably put that one in my scrap box because it will get a nice couple of daisies. Now this time I'm cutting to the black line because I'll show you on this. See, I've cut and left an edge around the white bird, but on these I've cut to the black line. If I cut and left 1 or 2 mil around the outside, I'll just get inky bits, not white bits like I have down here. So that there's no advantage to cutting wide. So because I've got an inked up card, this will take me ages. That's okay. We have all day. I do cut wider where there's a stem and then bring it back in. Because, you know, it's pretty hard to cut a stem. Did I say I was a slow cutter or outer? You might want to choose different colours. Have a look at your colour wheel. I think it looks nice because we've done so much tone on tone with the bundled sage distress oxides. You might want to choose different colour combinations, but try and use an opposite colour perhaps, because an opposite colour will, what they call, pop. That's where you get your popping of your images. It just means, for anyone who's a beginner, that they stand out more if you use the opposite colours on a colour wheel. So where do you find a colour wheel? Just Google it. You don't need a complicated one. You don't need an artist quality one. You just want a rough idea. So, can't see where I'm cutting. I think this would make a nice thank you card, or even a Mother's Day card. It would be nice. or a birthday card. Friendship card. I have another group on Facebook called Inkart Design Stamping Playground, where I run a monthly competition. So yesterday I drew the winner for May, and they get to choose a free stamp. If you're using stamps available through Inkart Designs, you can do this technique and put it into the album and be in with a chance to win a prize. All you have to do is use a stamp. It doesn't have to be a stamp I actually have available, because that's pretty hard because they sell all the time. But you could use a stamp from a brand that I stock, and that's enough for you to qualify. Alright, getting there. So I'm going just a bit careful because I'm finishing up with the leaves, and they're a little bit on the delicate side. If you're not a stamper, you know, pick images that are a little bit more easy to cut out than what maybe this one is. Right. Gosh, I've nearly finished one flower. And look at that. How pretty is that flower? Pretty awesome, isn't it? And who would have thought that from that? So pretty. It's a lovely way to do your flowers, and it's so easy. So easy. It's just off the craft sheet. But thinking about the marks that you're leaving. So you're not just going slap happy. You don't want to go into it slap happy. You've got to think. There's nothing hard in card making, but you still have to think about what you're doing and make decisions along the way. Might do the leaves first because they'll be the slowest ones to do. There's a little bit on that I'll take out with a craft knife later. So it's just relaxing. Actually, I need some coffee. Just felt like a drink. Have you got your drink? Do you craft with the drink? Some people do, some people don't. Okay. Oh, this flower's going to look awesome. I can tell already. It's really funny. You think you've got it right, but you don't really know until you're halfway through cutting something out just what it looks like. But I've done this quite a few times. It's one of my favourite things to do. Just scrape up ink off the craft sheet and make marks. Doesn't have to be difficult. Oops. I'm getting there. I'm getting there. That's the hardest part's done, I think. Not that they were that hard on this particular stamp. I think I did the hardest one first, so that was good planning. Did I really plan it? No. Just lucky. Can't see. Can't see where I'm cutting. When you cut in and then have to come back out. Sometimes it's difficult to see the line. You might have, is it a scan and cut machine that can cut images out for you? So I don't know how that would go on this inky background because I haven't got a machine to try, but it'd be worth a go. So close, nearly there. Thanks for your patience, everyone, because cutting takes a while. It's therapeutic. I know some people have told me that they'll sit and cut while they're watching TV. I can't do that. I'm not good at multitasking with my cutting. I like to just sit and cut. I find it really therapeutic, just on its own, without, whoops, I want to go around here on the home stretch. Right. Okay. So there are my two flowers. So I've got my two flowers, my bird, and my background. I temporarily don't know where I've put the bird. Is he on the floor? Could be on the floor. No. I wonder where I sat him. Does anyone else put things down or put them aside somewhere and think, oh, where is that? I'll just bring it back up just while I have a look around and see if I can find the bird that I cut out, because I remember cutting it. Oh, there he is. He was underneath my acrylic block. All right. I'm looking for my background. Got my background, and now I have my flowers. I'm actually going to go in with my pencils and add a little bit. So that's it. I'm just going to bring the flower up a little bit with my pencils, and I'm picking a mauve colour, and you know, you can just sort of add a little bit of detail and a little bit of depth. I think we underestimate sometimes that little bit of depth that you can add just with pencils. I'm not using watercolour. They're my Prismacolor pencils, so they're not watercolour pencils as such. Just a little bit up there. It just can bring it everything to life so easily. And into that white area, ever so lightly. Don't like that bit, so rub it off. And a little bit and soften it with a few circles. And around the leaves. Another thing that I find really therapeutic is colouring in. It doesn't take a lot, but it just finishes it off. And I'll do the same because it won't take 5 minutes. Where am I going with this one? Use the colours that are on your flowers or whatever you choose to stamp as your guide to where you're putting the colour. Again, it's about thinking, looking, seeing what's in front of you and using that as a guide. So nothing is hard, but you still have to think. Well, that's better. And around there. So all I'm doing is just adding a bit of shape. Really? Never had pencils for a long time. And then I did. Now, quite like that. Oh, 2 leaves to go. And you're going to soften it with a few circles. And then if you don't like something, just go in with a bit of a eraser. So, I'm really happy with those 2 flowers now. Now it's to put everything together. It's really simple to finish off. Excuse me a second. I just am using a glue stick. This is Bostik glue stick. You might have, oh no, what are the other ones? Just paper glue, because all we're doing is sticking paper to paper. Paper to paper, so you just need a paper glue for that. It's not a canvas or an art journal, or we're not doing metal, it's paper onto paper. So this one is fine to use. So that's going to go there. These leaves, see if that goes there, these leaves are hanging down, so I'm going to cut them off. Another thing I like to do with my stamps is just rearrange them a little bit. Right. So that's going to go there, and the little bit that I cut off, I'm going to stick in there like that. So I might stick those down first. Oh, better do the bird first. Let's do this properly. The bird is going there. Over to the side slightly. The flowers will go there. And then I'll have that going up. So I'll put some glue on the bird. Let me see where the flower's going. Yeah. That'll be nice just there. The acrylic blocks also come in handy for holding down your glued images. Once the glue starts to dry and has taken, you won't get bits lifting up. But the acrylic block is just so handy for so many things. That's pretty right. Now I'm going to put the flower there. So this will go there. like that. And I'll put that down with the acrylic block as well, just until it takes. It's pretty good. And then glue this flower down. Sometimes you might not know if you've got enough colour on your flower until you've actually attached it to your page. That's quite common. You can just go in with your pencils later on and add more colour. Leave that there like that. Hold it down. Just while it dries. Shouldn't do it with that sticky stuff on there. Should use the other side. In hindsight, everything in hindsight. That's crafting for you. And that's all I need. Put the lid on that. It looks quite nice there. And hold that down while it dries. It dries pretty quick, really. It's only paper glue. Right, is it dry properly? No, it's still a little bit wet. So what I'm going to do is get a green pencil. That green or that green, doesn't really matter. And remember, I said earlier, no, I don't like that one. Let's try this one. That's better. Happier with that colour. You know, and I could have quite easily have just rubbed off the bit that I didn't like, but it's okay. I'm just adding a bit of depth to these leaves that are in the background. A bit more interest. And it's just random. Don't overthink this part. Well, think a little bit, because you know you've got to think. Not much of the leaf came out from the bottom. So, you know what? I'm going to go in with the leaf stamp and add some more. I'll show you in a sec. The bird's hidden a lot of the leaf that I put down here in the bottom, so I'm just going to carefully add a couple of leaves just down into that bottom corner. That's better. That's better. I'm happier with that now. Can't believe how clean I'm being today. And as per usual, we heat set any stamping that we do. And I'm just getting some bundled sage to colour in these leaves. Like I did with the other leaves up higher. like that. And dry it. And then go in with my pencil. Yes, it's dry. And add a bit of depth down into those areas. Like that. I'm just adding a bit more pencil to some areas because I felt like it. Now, we turn it over and you can see the bits poking out the sides of the card. So just trim those off. Just where the leaves and the flowers hang over the edge. And that little one there. And to finish off our card, the glue is dried, so I'm right to use my ink pad. Taking the white edge, you can see, I hope, there's a white edge, and I'm going in and just covering the white. So it'll sit on the black card a whole lot better once you've done that. So that's it. I'm so happy. I'll just dry the edges. And there's our card. It worked. Always surprises me when it works. So it's pretty similar. I think I've done all right. And remember, I accidentally put my finger mark on there. So I covered it up with some words and that fixed that problem. So it wasn't a problem in the end. And that's just such a peaceful card. So for peaceful cards, soft colours are the go. And if you want a soft colour, that's where the oxides are really good to use. If you want something bold and bright and beautiful,